I got in it low. So I'm adding the tags when the product had a checklist. We had to X the check box. 1 through 8, go here. Number 9, go in the next spot. Finest all refractors, that's a sweat box. Hold the hobby, let the dough yield. Bread box, placing candy and packs in the kids' Easter basket. Passing slabs out like homework. Graded packets. As soon as the payment touchdown, then we pack it. Now you and you too can rip an RPS package. All my wax stay sealed. Never blew a gasket. Say the hobby crash or we gon' veer around the traffic. Wax with me when I die. It's stuffed in my casket. Boxes hot fire. They gon' burn into ashes. Pack stay stuck to my hand like a magnet. My breaker serve hits over net, no racket. We gon' consider this a classic. One pumping, they multiply. Silly wax rabbits. My breaker serve hits over net, no racket. My breaker serves hits over net, no racket. None other than the one and only most electrifying man in wax. Knocka is in the building. My guy Knock. My guy Knock is in the building. The most electrifying man in wax. That's what I said. My breaker serve hits over net, no racket. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy right here, when he break the box, the hits he serve, the value it bring back to you, it's over net profit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's over net profit. My breaker serve hits over net. No racket. The most electrifying man in wax. Knocka in the building. He'll be with us shortly. As you can see, the starting lineup toys in the back. When we first hopped on a live together, I didn't know he collected toys. He didn't know I collected toys. We were both looking for the toys first and foremost.
Man, what's going on?
Knock, how you doing, brother? How you feeling today, man? How the fam doing? Hold on. Let me get the audio back straight. Hold on. I gotta do something with the audio. Hold on. There we go. Try now. Talk to me.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me? Can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah, yeah, yeah. There we
Okay, all
go.
right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. That was on me. There's something I always got to press. They told me a little pop up come on and say press this button and do this and do that, and I never do it. So that's
Uh,
my bad. How y'all
what's
feeling though,
going on?
bro?
We feeling good, man. Just getting JoJo crazy, but ready for bed. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here running around, not even on here when you buzz me in. My bad, bro.
Oh no, you good, bro. I was doing the same thing. I just got off. I just had Tanya on, the F1 queen, and then I had
How
to
did
run it.
that go?
It went cool, bro.
Oh man,
Wisdom,
she
game,
already a
knowledge.
legend.
Yeah, you already know. I don't even think we talked about F1. We talked about F1, but she was just dropping gems, all dimes like John Stockton,
That's
You
tight,
feel me?
man.
Yeah,
That's sick.
man. That was it. I had to run inside too real quick and make sure the kids was solid. They getting ready for bed, lady reading them a book or whatnot.
Yeah.
So trying to keep them on a schedule.
Yeah, I understand. Understand that it's about that time, wind down time for the kids, for the children.
For one
So,
time, for the one time.
yes, sir, man. How
Yeah,
was
man.
your day though? Your day
Day was
good?
smooth. Yeah, day was good, bro. I can't complain. It was a productive day, cool day. Spent some time with the fam, of course. That's every day. But we went out. We went to Raising Canes in Davis. They opened up a Raising Canes in Davis.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy moly!
So we smashed
I've
out
heard
there.
about Raising Cane's for a while since
Yeah.
they're just the East Coast joint. So,
Yeah.
that's
That's
crazy that
same thing.
they
So
out here.
so we made that as an excuse to spend time together and go get some. It was cool too. They don't have ranch though, just to let people know. If you yeah, see, that's a good thing. They didn't let us know. They have hot sauce. They got hot sauce, but most black folks may not like their special sauce. You know what I'm saying? Most black folks don't like the special sauce. They got a special sauce, but no ranch. So so bring your own ranch.
That is funny, man. Bring your own ranch.
For sure.
BYOR, man, when you hit
Be-
the Raising Canes, dog.
the racing game.
That's funny, man.
They know how to keep the amount of people down in there for sure. If they had ranch, it'd be over. It'd be that's why it ain't. That's why it don't hit like that. It'd hit if they had ranch. You feel me?
That's dope,
That
man.
was a
That's dope.
strategic move. But yeah, bro, thank you for being on, bro. Appreciate you making the time to make this happen, man.
Heck yeah, nah, it's all good, man. Once I got the call, I had to make it happen, man. So I'm glad to be here. I was out on the gander all day, had to take a nap. I had a partial migraine, but
Ooh.
the grind don't stop, man. Got to keep going. So
Got to
got
keep
to keep
going. Yeah,
pushing.
you a big inspiration to this platform too, bro, because it was something that all of us have had in our mind, either individually, collectively. You know what I mean? We got off the beaten path, you know what I mean, on the IG live and thing that we've been running. But late last year, sometime in December, man, I really took your slogan. You're saying we here for a good time and not a long time. I really wanted to walk on that, or I wanted it to mean a little bit more. So I wanted to make sure not every endeavor, but some endeavors that I did have time for to make good of that time. You know what I mean? So
Heck yeah.
appreciate you for hopping on here, man. And this is a platform where we just want to share it with people who we value. You know what I'm saying? And who we feel value us, people who have made us feel valued at the same time. But it may be people who have made us feel valued outside the hobby. It may not necessarily be the hobby. And you're someone who from jump has made RPS feel, man, more than loved. You know what I mean? And we'll get into that about I want people to know how we met and everything, but it's really about you. And I want to start this off with the question that I ask everybody when they come on this show. I know you've heard me ask this question in clubhouse rooms before as it pertains to trading cards and people we admire and people who have laid the foundation for us in some shape, form, or fashion. And we want to put them on a one-on-one. We want to give them their own black, you know what I'm saying, prism card or their own whatever it is. Who you picking today? Who do you want to give flowers to? Who do you want to highlight via a trading card? Who would you put on a trading card? Who's somebody who who needs a trading card? Who maybe we might not be here right now talking to you if this
Mm.
person wasn't a part of your life. And there may be several people, but pick however many you want to today.
Man, somebody who needs a trading card. Hmm. It's a good question, man. If I really had to think about it, man, it's a couple folks, man. It's a couple of people who have definitely inspired me to 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 approach this space and this lane and this culture of collecting. Um, freely. I have a few folks to thank. One of them being you for sure, because at the time when I met you, I had already, started breaking for a while, for a little bit, and I was kind of running low on energy and vibe from an individual that looked like me, that talked like me, that that thought like me in terms of just bringing that type of energy and difference and vibe to the hobby. So first, I would have to say, Pat, you need a card, man, for sure, without a doubt. But if I was to go outside of the realm of RPS for sure, because you guys have been such a great inspiration. It would have to be my cousin Flim. Uh,
Ah,
my cousin Flim for sure fucks with it, Flim. If you guys know him on Instagram, man, my cousin Alex had a big inspiration on me in terms of getting me involved with like footwear and stuff like as a youth. You know what I'm saying? I would always come over to his house and he'd be on the internet before, you know what I'm saying, on the dial up looking at Nike Talk, man, and I'm talking about eons ago, and so like just his inspiration um, from not only that, but also trading cards. He was a person who, growing up, I would always go to his house and be looking through his binders of like cards because he would have dope Marvel sets. You
Yeah.
know, damn near complete Marvel sets. You see how people are going crazy with all the PMG stuff and all that. But I mean, even outside of just that, he was just really big on that, big on Jordan, big on, cards. And as much as I was involved with that through the likes of my father and stuff, I'm like my father in the sense that my dad would be collecting and jumbling hella stuff as a kid. Like he was always doing hella stuff. Like he would always be like, I can remember, man, growing up in the hood, man, but we always had a pinball machine in the garage, like a
Yeah.
real, you know what I'm saying? Like a couple at times, you know what I'm saying? We barely got garage space to park the car. He working on this project. He got this going on. He got remote control cars and stuff like that. So like I had that inspiration in me from my father just to be involved in a whole bunch of different things. And then my cousin Flynn was like, okay, now, I got somebody that's around my age that's involved in similar things just like me and,
Right.
stuff that I see my pops also doing as well. So, Flim, I would say Flim, my dad, uh, Pack, and also I have one more homie, Game Slab on Instagram. I got a older Filipino homie. I call him Kuya. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who is a big time collector. You know what I'm saying? Of video games, comic books, and toys, and all types of stuff, and especially wrestling and things like that. So um, I would like to say all like that group right there is literally a big part of the reason why I'm doing what I do today, and a big inspiration behind it all. And they all need trading cards, man, because um, we are here for a good time, not a long time. And I feel like, I definitely would want to acknowledge each one of them individuals for giving me, the juice and the energy to keep going and to keep doing stuff like this. So,
Man, shout out everybody there. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out everybody you name, to Pops, to Flim,
man,
Game Slayer. Shout out Flim too, man. I always see Flim, at least now even more so. I see Flim more in person than I do on lives now, because Flim is active in these communities, man, and in these
yeah,
streets, making sure these kids have options and resources to things they wouldn't normally have as far as tech and engineering is concerned, and what's going on now. You know what I mean? So shout out Flem. He's always stepping on my school campus, man, and going directly to what he's supposed to be doing to the kids and building a plan for them. So shout out Flem. And man, I'm happy you brought Flem up. I'm happy you brought up Pops and back in the day, because that's where I want to start, bro. I want the people to get a little sense of who you are, where you're from, what was childhood like. You mentioned growing up in the hood. We've had a couple other people already on here. Bless the mic, and or come on the checklist and off the checklist, who from the same soil as you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
okay,
it's kind of
okay,
like it's a takeover going on. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the hobby don't know where the real where the real heart is of the hobby, man. So where you from? What was childhood like, bro? And you also mentioned your pops having several hobbies and things. You and I
yeah,
both. I know I'm a man who had. It's not just one thing we collect. I want you to talk
right,
about
right, right,
talk about your upbringing and talk about some of your first hobbies. It doesn't have to be cards, but maybe some of your first hobbies and just first passions and things like that.
yeah, man. So I'm from San Francisco, California, man. A small area in the soil called Hunters Point, Baby Hunters Point, Shafter and Ingalls, Palouse, Ingalls to be exact. Born and raised, and you know, it, it was cool growing up, in that scenario because as much as my father was, trying to figure out a way to obviously get his family in a better, area. I live right by my grandma's house, right down the street, and and the neighbors was cool. I, played with a bunch of kids in the area all the time growing up outside like they don't do no more, except for your kids. Your kids always outside. Uh, but you know what I'm saying? So it was a really just like an awesome childhood I could think of. We had a small house um off on Pollute, and growing up, like I said before, my dad really just learning from my dad. My dad was always involved in a whole bunch of different hobbies.
Yeah.
My grandmother would always tell me about stories about him when he was younger, and how he would get something, as a gift or as a toy or whatever, and he would take it apart, and it wasn't even supposed to be taken apart. He would take it apart and then put it back together and do all types of craziness, when he was younger. And so, fast forward to, him getting older and then having me, he never stopped doing stuff like that. And so, one of the earliest things with him was that I can remember with me and him, and just seeing him involved, was, like I said, with pinball machines, and like with like video games, and this is like even before Sega Genesis and things like that. Um, he would buy these pinball machines and have them in the house and be working on them. And if you ever seen a pinball machine like opened up, man, and
It's
like
crazy.
it's
It's
crazy how
crazy. I
many,
remember.
bruh.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, what the heck? There's so many different circuit boards and switches and light bulbs and this and that. And then when you get to another layer, like, because my father, he's a woodworker. He's like a carpenter of some sorts. He's a finisher.
Hmm.
And so, and a detailer. So, once he would get all the circuitry on the board working, then he would move towards trying to fill in like areas missing paint or missing this and missing that. And he would just like totally go with that. And so I was always like fascinated with that. Um, as well as like remote control cars. You know, during the growing up, he took me to my first ever like hobby shop when I was a kid.
Huh.
And like outside of cars, just like remote control stuff. And we would buy a ton of model planes and die cast and things of that nature, and put those together. And then they started coming out with gas RCs and electric vehicles and things like that, where you could change the electric motor and you could change the voltage on the battery. And we would just always just be doing stuff, man. Like, and so that's where I learned, that as much as we can have a laser focus in a certain field of collecting or anything like that, it's so much more fun when you're just like indulged in various things that you have a passion for. Because when you might get tired of something at one point in time, right? Just for a second, he get tired of something, then he pick up his bass guitar. He be playing bass for a while again, and I'd be like, "Dang, Dad, you play bass too?" Like, like, what don't you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was just like I could see him never really getting bored with life outside of what he was doing with work, because he filled his life with things he was passionate about.
Right.
So, and I just learned so much from that. And I think that that's the reason why I'm so crazy with what I collect now, which is various things, like how you brought up, whether it's toys, comics, basketball cards, football cards, it doesn't matter what it is, video games, and after seeing my dad, with the pinball machines growing up, even though he did so much with that, now I got an arcade machine too, and I'll just be like, man, it'd be like the insurance commercial, man. You wake up 35, you like, man, am I doing everything that my dad used to be doing, man? Because that's exactly how I feel like right now, man. So
It's
it's
crazy
funny.
you said that. I had one of them moments the other day. My dad had said something about painting something. And then at first I was roasting him, and then me and my brother was talking about me and Slab was talking about it, and we said, "Oh no, I see where you're coming from. I can see myself saying that in 10 years. Like I'm gonna want to paint. I think he wanted to paint a driveway or something. Like, why are you gonna paint it with regular paint? I'm like, man, why are you gonna paint the driveway with regular paint? I think he got that because our grandma used to paint her driveway with regular paint. So it's just some crazy stuff that don't make no sense that's been passed down. And we thought about it like, yeah, you know what? Just because it don't make sense, I think I'm gonna paint the driveway. I'm gonna wait though. I gotta get a little bit older, but I'm gonna paint the driveway like God. One time.
Oh man, that's funny, man.
Those
Yeah, I
hobbies.
remember that. That was the thing growing up, man. People painting their
Was that
driveways.
a Frisco thing? No, that was a Frisco thing. That was a Frisco
bruh.
thing. Because I'm talking, my granny was in Frisco. And that's the only place you see regular paint, though. Like they have paint where you can paint on cement, but nah, my granny wasn't using that,
Nah,
bruh. She painted her whole
nah.
house and she'd paint the cement, the driveway. I'm like, and we'd peel it. That's how I know it was paint. We'd
Yeah, yeah,
peel the shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And she painted it every year. It wasn't waterproof. It wasn't
Oh
weatherproof. And you
man.
live in so this was a San Francisco thing. Okay, it's starting to make sense now. Okay, I'm gonna tell
Oh, that's
Slab.
hella funny that you say that, man. Because that's for surely there are tons of houses in my hood that got the pavement painted. You know what I'm saying? Whole garage floor on the inside, then
Yeah.
all the way to the outside, and it's just paint chips everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Look like it got painted in the '70s. You got paint spots every everywhere throughout the garage to the front. Man, that's hella funny.
I think the only other place I've seen that is like maybe like place certain spots in East Oakland, like in the middle of East Oakland, like maybe from like the
Yeah.
70s to seminary or something. There's some homes like that. But other than that, all San Francisco. I never seen it anywhere else. That's crazy. So you
That's
talked
hella
about the
funny.
hobbies, several hobbies, right? And it started when you were
Yeah,
young. So let's start from when you were young. What's the first emotion or feeling that you can remember as far as a hobby is concerned? Whether it's a card, a toy, a game, like when you were playing or when you had these things in your hand, what were some of the feelings and
yeah.
emotions you were feeling or going through?
Uh, man, just pure like bliss and excitement, over these things. I could remember, back in the day, doing good in school or something. Dad wanted to take me to Toys R Us, and they didn't have the actual cartridge on the shelf. You used to have to go and get like a ticket.
Yeah, pull the tab out.
Remember, you
Yeah.
had to get the ticket, bruh, and I could just remember feeling like the the black kid in Willy Wonka. Like I got the golden ticket, baby. They actually got the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, and going to the front, and then you know what I'm saying, getting that. And so it's just crazy, just feeling what that felt like back then. Um, you know, that was always an exciting moment. I can remember. With basketball cards and stuff, my dad would bring me a pack every now and then, or buy me a set every now and then, but it wasn't as religious as him, like going and buying and playing a game with me. I
Right.
really like adopted and fell in love with trading cards because of my cousin. But everything else, like in terms of like being a kid and remembering that feeling, that's like one of the best feelings I could ever remember. Like just that, or even like my pops taking me to the hobby shop and it's just buying like some new parts for our cars. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, and just knowing the time. Like I think now more so than ever, as much as my dad worked maybe even back then, I think what was really in love with was the time that he was trying to spend with me,
Hmm.
as well. So like, because we wouldn't really get that during the week at all. He's gone to work at 3 in the morning for the past like 40 years, bruh.
Yeah.
So, my dad, I wouldn't see him in the morning. It'd be
Yeah.
like every day during the week would go by, but I wouldn't see him until it'd be like 4 or 5 o'clock. Don't let me have football practice. I ain't gonna see him until like 6 in the evening, and then he go to sleep at like 7 or 8 because he gotta go
Right.
to work at 3 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just realizing that, as I talk to you about it, even more so ever, was acknowledging the fact that he only had so much time on the weekend, and from Friday through Sunday, but it seemed like more times than not he tried to really find a way to spend that time with me. So that's the best feeling in the world, I think. As a young man, that's the one thing I could pray a lot of kids, that don't have, would have a chance to have is have their parental figures there spending that time with them. Because for the most part, man, as parents that got to work 9 to 5s and all the time, we spend more time at work than we do, with our kids, and embracing that time. And I just reflect on it. I'm like, where is that time gone, man? Because in the blink of an eye, now I'm 35 and I got a
Yeah.
kid. And I'm still remembering these times with my father like it was just yesterday. So, just being conscious of that, man. Trying to stay in that moment and embrace these times, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
embrace those times in the past. Like honestly, that was the best feeling, man. Is the time that was spent.
I'm happy you said that. I'm real happy you said
Yeah.
that because one, that's something that you model. Like for people who don't know, not he's a businessman. We'll get into that. You know what I'm saying? And he's into the hobbies, into several hobbies, but he's a family man, and he really like I can tell he talks to himself. Like I don't know if it's true, but I can tell he talks to himself. Like nah, I gotta stop. No, because I do it to myself sometimes too. But it's like no, it's time
Oh
stop doing this.
man.
Let me go lock in with my son. Let me go lock in. Like I have to.
Yeah.
There are times I'm on the phone with you. Like you tell me, like, Pack, I gotta go. I'm about to go do this with JoJo. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go. Me and the honey bun. We about to go do this. So like I know that's important to you, and that those memories and those times made that impact. Because now you, like you said, now you just like your pops in that same manner when it comes to you and your family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Big time, man.
and I'm happy you shared that, bro, because I'm a father, right? And my situation is weird. Like right now, I have my partner, my lovely lady, we have two children together. And then I have two children with my ex-wife, right? Which are all of our children. Me and my current partner, they're all our children, right? But those two, my children with my ex-wife, they're with her during the week. You know what I mean? And they're with me on weekends. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if they got stuff to do, or they want to kick it with their friends, or if they mama on some blah, then they might skip a
Yeah.
weekend. You know what I mean? And
Right. Yeah.
when I was younger, going through that, they're 12 and 9 now. But when they were like 3 and 1, you know what I'm saying? I've been divorced for a while. When they were real young, it was hard for me to understand that concept of spending the time with them because I wasn't
Hmm.
given all the time. I didn't know how important that 1 or 2 days were until I saw other people who didn't get that time, till I saw other kids who didn't get that time. And then I
Yeah.
had to say, you know what? I got to make me the best me. Shout out Jake, man. Jake just slid through. He said, "What's up, Knocka? Love you
What's up,
too.
man?
Love you too, Jake." He said, "Have a great night." He got to go to bed. He been locked in all day, man. He always locked in. Jake, thank you, bro, for stopping by. Um, but man, I had to make the best. I had to tell myself, and this is from listening to other people. You know what I'm saying? People telling me all these nice things, or people telling me things that they went through. I had to make myself a better me. So then those days that I did get with them, it was 100%. It was all me. It wasn't me worrying about the 5 days I didn't get with them. You know what I mean? It was all
Yeah.
right. Let's make this the most impactful and most memorable. And I just like hearing that now because I'm just gonna be honest. I think I've gotten away from that. There are times where
Yeah.
I take advantage of that as a father. There are times where I'm like, okay, they right on the other side of this door. I'm gonna be right in, and then right in turn into an hour. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like that's not right
Yeah.
in, bro. They was expecting you in 15 minutes. You know
Yep.
what I
And they
mean?
remember that shit too.
And they remember it. And they
Yeah.
remember it. So I that's something that I have to, especially when it's my word. I want to make sure that, because I'm big. I'm just like you. I'm big on the memories and the moments, and when they hear,
Yeah.
making sure I spend that. But like I said, there are times where it's not that, and we're not gonna have this time forever, especially with our kids. Man, one of
Yeah.
my favorite songs. I don't know who it's by, bruh, but I damn near know it by heart. But some a dude talking about little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home,
Yeah.
son, I
That's
don't
my
know when,
song.
but we'll get together then, son.
Yeah,
I
man.
know we'll have a good time then.
That's a
And
powerful song.
that's a powerful, I think about that song all the time as it pertains to my boys and my kids.
Yeah.
Like, man, especially as I watch my 12-year-old now grow up, and how much more less it feels like he comes to me or wants to be around
Yeah.
me. And part
Yeah.
part of that is him growing up, but part of that is not me too. Part of that is me not, what I'm saying, making certain ties and things, even with the times that we had. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's why I'm saying it's important that I hear that from you as a father now. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you experienced as a son and something that you're doing as a father. Like
Yeah.
I said, man, everybody I talk to, it always helps me hold up a mirror in my face and hold myself accountable. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I can't be perfect. Like, oh, yeah, I do that too to perfection. Nah, hell no, bro. I be failing a lot, bro.
Yeah. But that's a, if you have, I feel like if you have that group that folks that can hold you accountable, or that you feel like even if they ain't like necessarily like on you, like you gotta do this, bro, but you feel like you feel obligated to give that energy, or to acknowledge that feeling, then it's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
I think it's always the best thing for you, being in a space where you can be conscious, and be held accountable, and be aware that certain things you have control over, and just to try and stay on task with it, man. It's nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, still on the childhood, not when you were collecting cards. Um,
Hmm.
in your youth, who were you collecting? What were you collecting? Did you have any specifics, or was it everything?
Definitely. Did I have specifics? Growing up in general, I was a big Frank Thomas fan, Ken
Big
Griffey
Hurt.
fan.
Ooh,
And then, in that era where, you'd have thought I always kick myself in the butt for not collecting more basketball back then, because it was like what I got put on was baseball, during that era. So I was just buying a whole lot of, baseball when I had a chance to. So Fleer 1990 was my first set. So the year after, I think I might even got it around here, man.
I think I got
This
it
was the
too. It's
year.
right. I think it's
This is my first set ever right here. I still got it from my
dang.
childhood. I just recently opened this and cracked the seal on it, just to go in here and pull out Dion and a couple others. My dad will always be like, "Man, make sure you never open that box." I opened it, man. I opened it all these years later, man. Had this thing since 1990.
Wow.
But so like back then it was Griffey. And then even after that, it was Bonds, Robbie Thompson, Will Clark. So it was always centered around my favorite teams. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big homebody. So, I'd always be going after stuff like that, and really wasn't like, even though I had sets, I really wasn't into building the sets. I was into using players out of the sets to get more of the players from my own team. So if I had a set and I knew a couple kids that wanted this or wanted that, I'd be wanting some back some berries, or I'd be wanting back some Griffies, or I'd be wanting back some big hurts. Even who was it? Fred? Who was it? Fred McGriff?
McGriff.
Gary Sheffield.
Oh, Sheffield was
Um,
up. That bat flip was crazy.
Man. So there was a couple cats, man, that I used to love collecting, man. Um, but that's really what I started out with. It was with baseball. And then I grew an affinity for the Marvel cards through Flim, but I never really had too many Marvel cards at that particular time. I don't know why my dad just didn't. He was not vibing with that. You always want to buy me baseball cards.
Yeah.
Basketball, what's the first set of basketball that I ever really, it had to be some hoops for sure.
For sure, hoops.
It had to be hoops.
If
If it
hoops
was
wasn't
around
your
this,
first, if hoops wasn't your first, then you lucky.
bro,
You better go tell your parents thank you.
it was hoops, bro. And I think it was like it was 91, 92, or 92, 93. So, but I never really had too many hoops growing up. It was Flim, man. Flim had all the Fleer metal. He had all the when Optichrome was first starting to hit, Topps Finest, all that stuff, man.
Ooh.
And so I would always want it, but I didn't have it back then, man. I really didn't. And um, it was just awesome because you know what happens is when you get this age and you have just a little extra like play money or whatever, you just start trying to go after the stuff you didn't have as a kid.
Yep. All of it. All of it.
And so before the hobby blew up again with the resurgence, man, Big Brooks, shout out Big Brooks, man. He had me out here buying early Don Russ in 2019, February of 2019 for like 150 a box, man. And we just went crazy. I absolutely lost it because here, the hobby had been in the back of my brain all these years, and I've been involved in all of this other stuff for all these years. And all it took was for one of the homies to be like, "Yo, you want to go buy some basketball cards one day?" And then it was just over
It was
with. I was
over.
just like, I can't believe I forgot. I have all these starting lineups with me all the time. I've been collecting starting lineups for forever, even as a kid. So, as much as I say is I wasn't like collecting a lot of basketball cards, I actually really was, but I was more so using the toys and not even
Toys.
really like paying attention to the cards,
Right.
which was crazy. And then so now, like being being where I'm at now, this whole time basketball cards was always my thing. I was always collecting basketball cards, but I was more so gravitating towards the toys at those times than anything than actual cards, and it's just amazing the way that things have grown and evolved, man. In terms of where I'm at and my passion for the hobby and for all this other stuff that I'm involved in.
So man, you brought up two big names, and we've talked about this before too. But correct me if I'm wrong. You brought up a lot of names. About the baseball players you named, right? You brought up
Yeah,
Sheffield and Bonds, Griffey, Frank Thomas, Will Clark, a host of people, right?
right,
Now, I remember these same people. I remember all of them, right? They were all superstars.
right.
But to me, right? If you got to take away the San Francisco bias for a second, right? It
Okay.
feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Griffey and Thomas were like more than life. Bonds was a beast. Bonds was a beast, but I didn't feel
But
like he
back
was
then,
culture. He wasn't culture though.
no.
Frank Thomas and Griffey was culture. Can you talk about that? Like
Yes.
why what to you, why were those people so big?
Oh man, it was the fact they had the shoes. They had the shoes for one, man. Hey man, we talk about this all the time, man. Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey actually had signature footwear, man. For of course Frank Thomas with Reebok and then Griffey with Nike. But just that simple fact right there just bridged the gap in the culture like beyond people's understanding. They were always present. They had video games as well. You know, Griffey had video games, and so Frank Thomas,
Yeah,
Big
Frank
Hurt
Thomas.
Baseball. I think Frank
I think
Thomas
he had
had.
one. Yeah,
Thank you. So
yeah.
yeah, so they were
And they were cheat
always in
codes on
front
every
of our.
other game.
Thank you. Exactly. So they're always in front of our eyes. They always look the coolest. They had the coolest uniforms. You know what I'm saying? Ken Griffey had the coolest swing. So, when we would go out on the schoolyards and we're imitating who we trying to hold the bat like and who we're trying to swing like and all these other things. And when we hit a ball out the yard, we would always be shouting out these names and trying to imitate these players. And so their personalities also played a big part in that. I would have to figure because there's no reason that I don't think Bonds. See, at that time, what's so interesting about you saying what you said is I start to wonder myself like why was a Bonds more of a prevalent figure in the culture during that time?
Because he was raw.
Um,
He was still raw. He was a
that's what I'm
beast.
saying.
He was a
And
beast.
you would have figured, but those other guys were marketable, man.
Right.
Whether it was their personality or their charisma, some I if I had to think about it, I'd probably say that they were way more marketable than Barry. You know what I'm saying? Barry probably didn't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? And so much harder to market a person like that to the kids and to the youth when he ain't even trying to be involved with that anyway. You know. So, but Ken Griffey, oh man, everything from the shoes, video game, man, to the look, all of that, man. People always wanted to swing like and dress like Griffey, ball like Griffey, man. So they're true culture movers, especially, and that's something that you don't see now with baseball.
At all. Really
Baseball
in
is
sports. You really don't see it in sports, right?
well, yeah, well, in sports in general, if you're talking about that whole blending of the culture. Now you really don't see athletes with signature footwear from
Yeah, you
relevant
see him in
brands.
like insurance company commercials and all different types of
Yeah,
hair commercials, but you don't see them with their own.
or
Yeah,
or
right.
or you don't see them in the fields that impact the youth the most. And so if
Right,
the
right.
right, so if you don't, you might see him on a State Farm commercial,
But
but
what
what
kids got
kid cares about a
insurance?
state? Right? What kid? Right? So like it's like these marketing companies have completely missed on what they got right in the 90s and in the 80s.
Mm.
And so instead of them pushing the kids and pushing the youth forward and putting the youth forward, they start doing all this stuff for middle-aged men and women. And it's like once we get to a certain point, it's like, okay, we understand you're hitting us with your propaganda and trying to market to us all the time. But really, where you're going to get that next wave of brand loyalty is from the youth. So they just miss, they airball it all the time nowadays. And when they don't, um, it's not executed the right way. A lot of times it's involving things that the kids can't even access. You know what I'm saying? Or, there's bots and there's this and there's that. So
Yeah.
even when they're making them involved in something that is desirable within the youth and of culture, the kids can't even get it. So it's crazy.
It is
It's
crazy.
it's 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 insane.
Because I just remember the feeling. Talk about the feelings and emotions. This is what
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if kids are getting the same feelings and emotions, bro. But I remember before you can even, let's just take one shoe for example. Before you can even get your hands on a pair of pennies, right? You had to sit back before they even released. You had to sit back and watch a little penny commercial for like a couple weeks and months, right? Like the build up was real, right? And it was you became Lil Penny. You memorized
Yeah.
the commercial. You done acted it out with all your partners. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And then just for that release date for when the shoe finally dropped. And then the feeling of
Yeah.
that, being able to get like, I was fortunate a lot in my ways too, where I didn't get every shoe, but at the beginning of the year, school year, we got to pick one shoe that we got the whole year. And then for basketball season, we
Yep.
got another shoe. So our team shoes would always be pennies. At my elementary school and junior high, we always
Heck
picked the
yeah.
pennies from like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. All pennies. And like Little Penny was, bro, I feel like we talked about Little Penny every
Massive.
day. For those people who don't know, Anthony Hardaway, right, amazing basketball player back in the 90s. He had a commercial for his shoes where Chris Rock was this little puppet, Little Penny. And I mean, Little Penny even appeared on music videos back in the day,
Yep.
right? Like he
Yep.
was big, but all this
He
was
was
marketing and
big.
promotion and culture, and it tied in. And Griffey used to have, he didn't have a Little Penny, but he had these same type of commercials, and so did Frank Thomas. Like they were,
Yeah.
you got to see them in a different light, and it was like you said, marketable towards kids, bro. Who didn't want, bro? I used to, bro. Little Penny was my favorite. Forget Anthony Hardaway, bro. Little Penny, bro.
Lil Penny was the one, man. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy thinking about it. You know, a lot of these brands figured that they didn't need to go the extra mile to create either hype or to sell out a shoe, so they just gave it up. And that's the sad thing about it, because these emotions and these memories and these feelings, these are lifelong emotions, memories, and feelings.
Yeah.
So now that they've given that up, they've also given up a pathway and a lane to sustaining engagement with the youth.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's crazy. It's crazy that you say that, 'cause Little Penny was crazy. It was crazy concept, crazy idea about, Penny having an alter ego, because Penny was the quiet one, and
Quiet,
I
cool.
ain't gonna
Yeah.
say too much. Not, Little Penny got the house party going on, man. He got he got every, he got everything popping off that Penny Hardaway is trying to not resemble or example. But it was just so genius, and I don't know. I miss times like that, because you could just feel it. You know what I'm saying? It was just a beautiful time for culture, and how it totally embodied, um getting everybody involved, because it wasn't anything that just kids liked. It was like everybody, middle-aged dudes, it didn't matter, old people,
It was, yeah.
everybody loved that type of approach, to these spaces. Even old basketball, even old trading card commercials. I seen somebody sharing some old, like, was it a Fleer, or it was a Fleer metal commercial? I forget what it was, man. But like, just things from that era, like they were totally curated to engage the youth
Yep.
and to drive. But we really don't see it. And I'll be honest with you, because I'll turn on Nickelodeon, and before I let Lil Joe watch whatever he want to watch, I'm paying attention to these commercials and
Yep.
everything they trying to teach
Facts.
our kids
Right.
right now, because there's a whole lot of craziness they're trying to teach them anyway. But within that, I'm trying to see what's the cool stuff too, man. What's going to engage me? What I'm totally going, finding my youth, and then I'm watching the commercials. Like, yeah, I'm trying to see something cool too, man.
Yeah.
What's up with the newest RC car, or the newest toy, the newest this and the newest that? And I'm over here, I'm looking, I'm like, bro, it ain't nothing going on right now. I guess it's just, I don't know. Things are different. So
Yeah. I
times are
feel like,
different, man.
yeah, I feel like there was a huge fall off from the mid 90s, and then I kind of feel as if somewhere around 2000, a little after 2000, like they tried to bring it back, not in the same way, but remember Iverson had that one commercial. I've had a few commercials, Reebok commercials, that were classic. I consider culture.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Different angle, but definitely still, marketable to the kids. We were outside trying to practice those moves. And then
Yeah, we
more
definitely were. When he had
the was it the
even
locks?
the Jada kiss with
Jadakiss,
Jada kiss
yeah.
with yeah, that was it. That was like '05. I damn near even remember part of that
That was
rap, man.
'05. That was '05. That wasn't
Yeah.
yeah.
So that wasn't even like, bro, that was,
But there was a
you
large
know,
gap. But but it stopped at
yeah,
some point, right? And then that
it
came,
stopped.
and then a little bit after
Yeah.
that, Kyrie and Brian had some commercials that was funny as hell.
Yeah.
And then where did that
Yeah,
shit? Where did it
Bron.
go?
LeBron
Brian
with
had some classics,
the
bruh.
LeBron had the puppet thing too. Remember
Yeah,
Kobe? Yeah, man, they had that. That thing was going strong, and I know I can tell you for a fact it was creating hype around shoes and all that whole thing because they took Nike literally took a page out of Jordan's book and they applied it and they almost executed it to a T with LeBron. They literally did because you don't even remember when his first shoe came out. Bernie Mac had they had a commercial with Bernie Mac and he's in the church and LeBron's throwing all the dimes up here and up there and
yeah.
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was genius. You know what I'm
Genius.
saying? It brought everything together. And they fell off with that. You're right. You're right. It's kind of like a wave. Like in the early 2000s, they was on it, and then right now it's a flat line. It's just dead. They're not marketing anything. They're not promoting anything. The reason why they're not is because they're pocketing all that extra money right now,
Facts. They don't want to
and
give them that
it's
much power. They don't want to get a player that much power in platform.
oh, that too, man. You know what? Especially because the dollar signs involved in giving those players that platform have gone up exponentially. They really have to the point where, you know what? Maybe we ain't gonna say anything about a signature shoe. He probably gonna want royalties on his own damn name on the shoe, as the player should want to be making, but these companies don't want to pay that. So all that fun stuff is gone out the window, and this is what we got. We got a plain piece of bread.
Hella dry.
Hella dry. Hella dry, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Just
Man,
terrible, man.
yeah, man. I hope we get back to a time. It feels like now's the time. You know what I'm saying? Or pretty soon, where we'll start seeing maybe some of these creative marketing things. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Appear again. It feels like that's one of the things that's missing for sure, not only from the hobby but from culture just in general. Is like as you said it perfectly, that Bernie Mac commercial it tied so many different cultural genres and aspects together as one. You know what I mean?
yep,
People who just like Bernie Mac and could care less about a young basketball player in his shoes love Bernie Mac. So now they go, who that youngster? And people who love Brian, little kids who love Brian who never knew who Bernie Mac was, thinking Bernie Mac they funniest uncle they'd never seen in their life. You know what I'm saying? And then the music, just everything just bridges the whole gap together, man. And
yeah,
that was the beautiful part to me about the '90s was that everything was connected. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like it was separated as much as it is now. It felt like everything was like in a circle to where, you knew what you were a part of.
yeah. Very true. Very true. Things aren't. It was like it was like a puzzle in the '90s and the early 2000s. They figure out they put the puzzle they put the pieces together, and right now we have a fractured puzzle again. So things just got it. They just trying to figure it out again, and it's a whole lot. I, I think there's a whole lot of things going on in the world. We don't know what's going on. We don't know whether we want digital money or we want to still hold on to our hard money. We don't know. We don't know. It's a whole lot of things that's just like out of whack right now. No matter where you look. So, until we figure it out and settle it down again, we just gonna be in this weird space right now. You
Yeah.
know. So they don't even know how they want to release shoes anymore. They don't know that they don't know anything right now, man. All they know is, hey, as soon as we drop it, will it get bought right away? And so all the other fun and it is going out the window because they just want to make money as fast as they possibly can. So once we can get the fun back involved and people will actually care about making something that's classic and sustainable and timeless, then we'll get back there, man. But
Ah,
nobody want to make anything timeless anymore right now, it seems, right? I
right.
mean, we can compare it to like Donruss clearly in the acetate cards of today, and the lack of complexity with those cards being made now. But look at how those cards were being made in the '90s. With all the technology we have right now, you mean to tell me we can't make no fire ass cards today? Like, yo,
Why are '90s inserts still kicking these inserts ass today? Huh? Yeah.
like it doesn't make any sense, bro. We figuring out how to print shipping labels using thermal ink so that we don't have to buy ink anymore, right?
Right.
But we can't figure out a way how to make a raw card today. Like I there's things that are missing right now, like we want to figure out a way to make things that sell out fast and how to make them fast without putting in any extra passion or like so folks say when you cooking something they put your foot in it or something
Yeah.
that
Cook
you know
love.
that
Yeah.
man ain't nobody putting their foot in nothing no more, man. Everybody over here hitting buttons on the microwave, dog. They want instant cards, instant this, instant that,
Yeah.
bruh. People
Yep.
don't even want to make they don't want to make their own rice. They want to pop it in the microwave. They want Uncle Ben.
They don't even know how to boil. They don't even know. Yeah, they don't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know rice had directions. You already know. See, yeah, I didn't know rice had directions until I was like 18, 19. One cup of rice, two cups of
Oh
water,
man.
right? I didn't. You gotta. You need directions for that. But see, that's a cultural thing though. My parents are not American. See, in
Oh,
America, you need directions for rice. You know what I'm saying? Because when I got out of my parents' home and I became American, then I started realizing, oh dang, there's directions on the back of rice. I thought rice just thought rice was just in a jar in the house and you just added water to it.
oh man.
That's
Oh, it's
that's crazy.
man. You know, I guess it's this is the world we living in, man. But I feel like you're right though. I feel like we're really close to people like I think people around our age are having an awakening about it. And I think even the youth are too.
Yeah.
Because I'll go to flea markets and I'll be out thrifting or looking for some dope stuff, man. I'll see young kids digging in the crates, man, like it's 98, 99, early 2000, and they're even looking for, you know what that tells me? They're looking for pure origin, whether it's the artwork on the vinyl or the
Yeah.
way that it sound and crackle and popped, or they're looking for the real. That's what these kids is doing, and they showing it to us. And then the same thing with I want to say folks our age, we going like, bruh, everything out here is getting a little bit too instant this and instant that, and a little like. So I think because we're feeling that as well, the youth evidently are also feeling it as well. That's why all
Yep.
these young kids that weren't around in the '80s and the '90s, they want to buy and wear clothes from the '80s and the '90s because they can even sense what's real and feel it. There's going to be an awakening from somebody who's in a position now that they can actually make an impact on these areas. I want to say, like, and we'll probably see that in the next 5+ years or so, man. Because you got to figure out anybody who's around our ages, there probably will be in those positions now to be like, yo, we're going to market like this, or we're going to do that, or we're going to retro this, or you know what I'm saying? So I have hope
Yeah.
that we can get back to more of it. Because I think in culture, that's exactly what culture's showing us, man.
Man,
Culture's showing
uh-huh.
culture's showing us that they want the realness back, man.
They
So
do. Man, you made a good point, bro. And I was just crazy. It's a perfect segue too. You talked about how everything's instant now, right? And people, and even me, I'm subject to it too. I'm used to having things at the snap of my finger. I'm used to having things condensed. I'd rather watch a 10-minute highlights of the game than sit there and watch the whole game, right? I remember when
right,
I was first making content about a year ago, and I'd holla at Lamine and I'd ask him for feedback and be like, "Hey, bro, give me some honest feedback about my videos, bro. You know what's going on?" He'd be like, "Man, they too long, man. 3 minutes. People ain't gonna tune in to 3 minutes, man. It's too long." I was like, "Man, that's
yeah,
real." And he was right. And then I talked to you, and you said, "Pack, bruh, we need that, bro. Like, bro, like
yeah,
Pack, that's what we like that." And then I had to tell myself, like, you know what? That's what I have to deliver. Because while I know people are used to that 10-second, 1 minute and under, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying, quick thing, man, I want to, even if I can't bring it back all the way, at least when people engage with us the same way they engage with you on your platform, that it's not nothing instant's gonna come from it. You know what I mean? Like this
yeah,
platform here, man, every conversation go over an hour. And
yeah,
people tune out after 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You look at the average YouTube videos. If you're not NBA YoungBoy or Disney,
yeah,
you got 30 seconds to impress us. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
right,
I don't care about any of that. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I know that there's somebody else like you and I who are going to take the time when they have the time to get what they need from this. And it may not be from the whole hour, hour and a half. It may be from 5 minutes or 7 minutes of it, right? But just
right,
taking that time, I just feel like it's important. He said, "We're here for a good time, not a long time." I'm not gonna rush the time. I can't make the
yeah,
24 hours go any slower or faster, no matter how much it feels like it's going slower or faster. It's 24 hours. It is what it is.
right.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing that's the first
Jojo,
thing. First thing, Jojo.
come here. Give me my hug.
Jojo. What's up with young Jojo?
Give me my hug. Say what's
Hey,
up.
what's up,
Say what's
Jojo?
up. All right, get out of here. Sorry.
No, all good, man. Love that. Love that.
But yeah, you're right, man. It's the time, man. I like to say this, like too. Like, look, everybody talks about binging stuff on Netflix, right? Well, you binging these episodes and these seasons and these videos, that takes a lot of time. But what are they doing? They're binging it and they're saying that I binged it because I watched a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm psyching y'all out to make y'all think that I watched this thing that it takes 12 hours to watch. I watched it in 2 hours. Like, no, no, you didn't. You took the it says that if you really watched every episode, you spent literal 12 to 14 hours watching this. That's what you did. No, we just gonna sell it. We gonna tell people we binged it. And, like, no. People like taking their time on stuff and embracing things that they really like and care about. You know
hmm
what I'm saying? So this whole psych, we just gonna psych ourselves out in the thing that we're just making everything happen fast and we're just learning everything this fast and we're just watching everything. It's unreal.
So
It's not
speaking
real.
so speaking of that, one of the first things that I fell in love, RPS, Jive and Marquis, Slab and Rip, we all fell in love with when we first came into your room was that in itself. We couldn't figure out how someone who's taking the time to have fun, engage, make the breaking experience engaging in just that, an experience with community members, right? People that I've met that I'm cool with now, you know what I'm saying, that are like a part of my life now, right? You created this platform, bro. And at the same time, like I said, you take your time, but you electrify at the same time. You're the most electrifying man in wax. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, that's him. That's him right here on the screen. And that's part of the reason why we in love. Your energy, your electricity. You know what I'm saying? That's value there. That adds something to me. Especially there are some days where I come in just for that. You know what I mean? Other days I come in to break. Other
Yeah.
days I come in for the community. Other days I come in for a collective or what. But sometimes it's just for the electricity. You know what I mean? And then I hop
Right.
right off, and then I start creating. Like, oh, I needed that. Like I didn't even have to break. Like, okay, Knocka's in the bag. Let me get in my bag. I'm gonna hop. Let me say what's up, and let me go get in my bag one time. You know what I mean, bro? Talk
Yeah.
about the community, man, and what it means to you, where it
Oh
started,
man.
bruh. Yeah, like I said, with everybody, we're never gonna have enough time, whether it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, to squeeze everything in. But I definitely want to get into the
Yeah.
break-in and the community and a little bit of that before we disengage for sure.
Heck yeah. Big shout out to the community
Yeah.
of camaraderie and unity, man. Big shout out to my guys, man. Man, I don't know where I'd be without it, man. So that's when I say the community, just so people know, I talk about, just a group of men and women that have come together all out of love for the hobby, that religiously like to watch me break. And, that's who I refer to as the community. You know what I'm saying? And we've grown into becoming all great friends, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it started out as me not knowing any of these guys at all whatsoever. Just what a couple of the homies suggested that I started breaking. You know what I'm saying? Breaking cards for other folks because I was already going on live and opening up cards for myself with Opay. And we would do it for like hours, bro. We'd be on live just opening up a big, big shit loads of like blasters and megas and things like that. Just spending all our early pandemic money, the early lockdown money, not knowing what the hell was going on. Everybody thought that everybody was gonna vanish,
Yeah.
just living life on the edge, man. We were just having so much fun with it. And you know, uh people that used to just come into my life to watch me rip cards for myself. I think I was at my cousin's house one day, and I brought some boxes over just for me to rip, and I hadn't even really checked out anything about the breaking scene at all. Actually, I had, because I was breaking cards with Sports Card Plaza,
Okay.
the young baby boy JR out of Florida,
Yeah.
for a lot of time, but I never really was looking at what he was doing as something that I would do, because I just go on live and open up my own cards.
Right.
But there was this element of fun, and it was of it, like being a show, and
Yeah.
you being able to participate in this thing where other people were watching, and you're spending your money over here trying to chase cards and players that you really want. So I always I, JR used to be the only person I would ever watch. Like, I wouldn't watch anybody else, and he was on here doing his thing. And I was spending thousands and thousands of dollars on cards with him, just having fun. And I would just go home as well, and I'd be opening up my own cards, whatever, on the live. So one day I'm at my cousin's house, and everybody that would normally come into the live came into the live. And I think I had like a box of, this is like 2019 Don Russ Elite, or I had something before that. And somebody in the chat was like, "Yo, let me buy a pack." And I was like, "What?" Like, you want to buy a pack of cards for me, so for me to open them for you? It's like, yeah, da, 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 da. I'm like, I had already been like spending my money with other people that were doing that, but I had never really thought of myself as doing that,
Right.
like, in entertaining other people. And people were like, yeah, we just like the way that you open up cards and whatever. Cause I would always be crazy animated with it. Obviously, a lot of my inspiration for the way that I break comes from wrestling. It
You're the
also
Stuart
comes
Scott of
from a
this,
time,
man. You the Stuart
man.
Scott of this, man. You the Stuart Scott of this, man.
It really came from watching folks
Rest.
be
I
so
can see that though, wrestling. I can see
pedestrian.
that though. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are like a wrestling analyst though, for real.
yeah,
So
you
play by
know,
play.
like
Yeah, it's play by play
that's what
with
I'm
Knock. For
saying.
those people who haven't had the opportunity to experience the community and get electrified, it's literally like you're watching wrestling. Stuart Scott, like I said, you're hearing and seeing some of these same things being remixed into hobby fashion in
Yeah,
ways
for
that
sure,
have never been done before. So yeah.
for sure. So man, um, I totally was at that point in time, even though I had seen, like my boy JR breaking and a couple of the cats breaking. The breaking scene hadn't got as obnoxious as it is for a lot of times, and I won't say it's obnoxious for everybody,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And there are certain things that are just overdone at this particular time, and I even catch myself. I don't. I could go a whole nother 2 years without saying bang ever again if I could stop myself from saying bang when I see a big card or when I pull a big card. But at this particular time, as we go back to before I started breaking for people, there really wasn't anybody that was getting ultimately excited about revealing a big card, because the people who were out there being seen breaking cards were still the OGs out there, latent sports cards, you know, and a couple of older
The
platforms that have
DACAs and
been
the
breaking for a
blowouts and
while.
all them. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So, there was none of that type of energy being brought to the scene yet. And so I was like, you know what? Screw this, man. This is supposed to be fun. People are supposed to be out here having fun. People are supposed to be feeling electrified when they open up a pack of cards that they could only dream of spending the amount of money that they spend on today and yesteryear. So, like, I just felt like, dude, like, here's all these lame dudes ripping cards like, they're in a library room, you know, that let that be my angle. So I would do that for myself. Fast forward, I'm at Flim's house many months later. People are like, yo, open up packs of Dollars and leave for me. I'm like, yo, what the hell? Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, dude, there's really like no black folks out there breaking at all. You could literally like be one of the first black breakers around. Like, all this is all you do every day since January, February 2019. Every single day, all you've done is study, research, buy, collect, all this stuff with cards each and every single day, and you still haven't seen another brother out there that's actively seen in the hobby as a breaker. So I was like, I saw it as also an opportunity for me to use my personality that I really don't put out there like that, because I'm a really reserved cat.
Right.
Like regardless of what people see on Instagram and stuff, like, guys, I'm really reserved, dog. I'm a homebody. I like to go to my shop, make money for my family, take care of my folks, and then boom, I like to live a reserved life. Just that's just how I am. But within me, I truly am like this. I have a personality that yearns to be seen, and I have a little bit of a wacky comedic side of me, and all this other stuff that never really gets out of there because it's been so suppressed. Maybe by the way that my father raised me in a whole bunch
Right.
of different scenarios or whatever, whatever. But that also, I felt like I could have a release valve for that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
every day, living life the way that I was living it is just super stressful. Trying to be this super serious dude all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, deep
Yeah.
down inside, I realize we here for a good time, not a long time. Why am I over here acting like, you know, all? Why am I acting like I can't be free within my emotions and my actions? So I saw it as a benefit for myself, for that main reason, way before even thinking about money. And I saw it also as a place to engage with people at that particular time, because everybody was going through so much too, like people really were going through a ton of shit, and I felt like the creator was using me at that time to give people not only a place for entertainment, but a place where they could like be around somebody who wasn't about no nonsense, no bullshit, that would keep a safe space for people to joke with each other, and at the same time hold some accountability
Right.
for being a moron if you're in there trying to be on some jive ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like there were so many things uh uh like a role that I was given when people, Lieutenant Dan, shout out Dan from the community because he was the person who bought the
Hey.
first pack from me.
Oh, shout out
But
Dan.
I felt like that was like my responsibility at that time, and it just blew up from there, to what it is now. I'm definitely not one of the biggest breakers that exist, but you know what I'm saying. It means so much more. Like I said, we're all friends. Shout out Spitfire. Shout out Hella Car. Shout out LB. Shout out the whole gang, man. I'm about to miss hella people. Big Dirk, Daryl, BD. I'm about to miss hella people, man. But shout out to everybody, man. I love the heck out of all y'all,
Shout
man.
out the whole community.
Cause
Shout out to
because
everybody, man.
without y'all, I don't even know what I would be doing, man. I was going through so much stuff too, and I just felt like we all helped each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it was about for me at that particular time, and just having fun. Uh, you know, came first, and these experiences growing with people, it came before looking for a card that was worth whatever value we could put on it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
so you talked about the community members, right? You named a whole bunch of people, and I've been in the room with those people a whole bunch of times. And I remember one specific time, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna see if you remember. Wh- Where where were you the night? Where were you the night of either January 9th or January 10th, 2021? You remember? Do you remember?
Jan 2021?
Last year, today, or yesterday? Do you remember where you were? Do you remember what you pulled? Oh, you know you done fucked up, right?
No, I don't.
You don't. So today
Was
on my
that was that
Facebook,
was that was the
today on my
huh?
Facebook, a memory popped up. So it happened either yesterday or today. That Herbie.
No. No way.
It's a year anniversary from the Herbie.
No way.
Yeah,
No freaking way. Is it a year anniversary for the Herbie pool?
yeah.
That's insane that you said that, bro. Like I had a feeling as soon as you said that you was gonna say that. I was like, what? We have not talked about that. That's funny, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Been a year. I know it popped up. I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, but I think it was today. It popped up on my Facebook memories as a year. And I remember I had posted on my Facebook, look on my most electrifying man and the wax pulled last night. Y'all better be breaking with. I always be talking my mess on the Facebook.
Oh man, yeah, that was a game changer, man. That was crazy.
That
That
was
was
crazy. And it was an
crazy.
organic moment for those people who haven't had the opportunity to feel it and see it. But it was one of those normal nights when Knocka's breaking on the road, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
he
I was at
goes.
Flim
He
House.
was at Flim House. He had his cousin's Flim House.
Yeah,
Sometimes he's at a Spit House breaking on the road. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Take off the top turnbuckle, off the top rope, on the road and things of
you
that
know it.
nature. But he was at Flim House and he was breaking for everybody just like any other night. It was just like
Yeah,
any other night. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And then it was there's always this dry spell in between the break night where people are just like, are we gonna keep
yeah,
on going or are we gonna stop? And then if it goes on too long, then Knox like, all right, am I
yeah,
gonna do a personal or am I
yeah.
going, you know what I'm saying? What's going on? And he Knock always gives the warnings. He's like, all right, y'all, before I do this personal, I want to know if anybody else wants in on this. And it was quiet, crickets. So I think you had like 3 or 4 boxes or something, and you hit Flem like, Flem, which box, right? And then
Yeah,
Flem gave
yeah.
you the box, and then you like, all right, you asked again, like, all right, y'all, anybody want this box or pass? And it was crazy because when you were breaking, you was your normal knock self. But when you got
Yeah.
into that already it's in personal mode, a bit of the energy went down. Like even before you
Yeah.
started opening it, it was that moment. It was either, hey, I'm going through stuff, and or man, I'm gonna open this shit and ain't gonna be nothing in it. Like you could just tell, like, because your energy was hype. It was one of them classic nights still.
Yeah.
But then right when
Yeah.
you committed to it being a personal box, I ain't gonna lie, the energy like it was kind of like went down just a little bit. Like you weren't opening the
Yeah.
packs with the same like you do for
Yeah.
everybody else or like you've done for yourself in the past. It
They
was
got
still
more
entertaining,
business.
but I felt it. I saw the drop off from 10 to 8 to 7. Okay. I recognized it, but it was
uh,
still nonetheless, it was amazing. And then I just remember I never forget, man, the Herbert, man. I
yeah.
you saw it and then you
Yeah.
put it down. What feelings and emotions what came over you that right there, like talk about being not just being a breaker, right? Because you've hit some big cards for some people too, right? But just being a collector, being a hobbyist,
Yeah.
being somebody in search of a find, even when you're looking for
Yeah.
your starting lineups, it's that
Yeah.
one that you can't find, and when you finally find
Yeah.
it, it's like, fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I tell people all the time, my Black Panther collection, each one of them aren't worth anything. Together, they're worth so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Right.
couldn't sell them individually. It don't work like that. You got
Right.
to take the whole
Yeah.
wop. So, and I know how
Right.
it feels when I find, like, just a couple weeks ago, we went down to LA. There's certain toys I won't buy on eBay because I know if I go to a toy con or a shop outside the way, I might find it. And I rather search and hunt for that shit. I rather
Yeah.
chase. I love
Yeah.
it. People
Yeah.
know the chase, the mystery behind that.
The
There's
chase.
there's
Yeah.
something scientific in our body. I know it is. I read it. I just can't describe it, so I ain't gonna go into it. That happens with that
Hunter
chase.
gatherer.
Yeah, right. So talk
Yeah.
about you being that moment, bro. From the time you said you committed to it being a personal box to the time you pulled that gold thing. Like what was going through your
Oh
head?
man, I still have that empty box over here, man. It was just crazy. But man, so when I'm thinking about personals, a lot of things goes through my head, right? Because especially during this era, I'm still building up my personal collection like crazy. And there's a part of me, I love all the parts of the hobby. This is the thing. Like, look, it'd be areas of the hobby where people be banging on breakers, like, bro, I ain't never spent $1 with a breaker before. I'd be like, bro, like you're missing the whole point. And then there's other parts of the hobby where people just feel like their way is the right way, and I love the hobby because it got no rules, right? So
Right.
like I like all of these things. Like I want to open up a box for myself. Then I want to see a homie can hit me a card too. And if he can't hit me a card, then guess what? You know what I'm saying? I like to play a part in all of these aspects because there are, one, there's more entertainment value when somebody else is opening a pack of cards for you. Two, if you opening it, then you taking the big blow. You're necessarily taking the responsibility of opening the card. But I feel like when you are the one that's behind it, there's a little bit extra. So like what you were describing when I went into personal mode, right?
Yeah.
And you said like the electricity went down a
It
little
did.
bit.
It did. It did.
It
Did it?
wasn't
Oh,
necessarily.
uh-huh.
It did. You're
Okay.
right. You're
Okay.
right.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but but okay. But this is the main reason why, because it's like, okay, now it's my money, man, on the line here. So I gotta get a little bit. So the electricity comes down just a little bit, especially then, because at the time I was putting in my all into everything all the time. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. If I opened up a box that costed, even back then, was still like $1,300-$1,400 when that box came out. That was a lot of money for a brother,
That was a lot.
and
And
I was still working on building up the waxery. So every box that I would essentially take away and open up for myself, I'm essentially delaying the time for me growing my inventory and growing my room to a respectable room, because I'm opening up everything for myself.
right.
So you know I like to be also calculated with the way that I open up stuff, when I think about acquiring things for my PC. So I'm not sure if you remember, but I was really tempted to open up a 2019 Prism retail box, which was all the rage back then, because everybody was still looking for Zion and Ja, like crazy. Um, but I'm a big football guy. And so I always tell people this. Like, people always ask me, like, Knock, what would you prefer to break? Would it be, basketball or football, I always be like football. I love football, the whole nine. So just growing up, just loving the sport and just a whole bunch of stuff behind that. So once me and my cousin and I think Butter was there too, I talked with them. I was like, okay, we're gonna open up some football, and Flim chose the box. I literally locked in on it because I was just like, I just felt like for one, I had second guessed opening that box because initially I was gonna open up basketball.
Yeah.
Then two, I knew the box was expensive, so my electricity was just going down because I felt like I was just thinking of too much stuff at that particular time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then three, it's a little bit more serious because I was just locked in the zone. I don't know if I didn't think that I knew anything special was going to happen at that point in time, but I think that's maybe why the electricity went down. But that's neither here nor there. So I get to the box, right? And I'm just in a zone because I'm automatically thinking I'm not gonna find anything, Pack. That's why the electricity went down, dog. I totally was in my own head, not saying anything to anybody else, but just thinking, bro, ain't gonna be nothing in here, dog, at all. Like I've watched so many of these boxes open at that particular time. Prism had just come out,
It was
really, like
fresh. It was
2020 Prism.
fresh
It was fresh.
because we was
So I'm
waiting on
like,
it for
oh,
so
these
long.
boxes.
It was a delay.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, these boxes are brutal. They're brutal. They're really hard. So I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let's do it. So I'm opening it, and of course, as I can remember, I haven't watched a video in a while, so I gotta watch it, man. I haven't watched it in a while. But what I can remember is literally just like going through the motions, like but not like I would for somebody else. Like if it were like if like now that you say what you say, I can remember. Like I definitely didn't open this box like I would have opened it for
No,
somebody
you
else.
didn't. You
My
didn't.
performance on opening it was probably trash if I had to grade myself because I was not electrified opening this box at all. I was just going through the motions. But what I can remember is one pack I got before I got to the Herbie. It had a snakeskin card in it, and it was a snakeskin Travion Diggs, the kid who plays for the Cowboys, who got like 11 picks or something like that.
Yeah.
And at that time, he was nobody because he just had 11 picks this season. So
Right.
ain't nobody ever tripped because the combine pictures. Remember, everybody we was all hating on the
Roasting
combine pictures,
combine pictures.
everything, bro.
Yeah.
Dog, he was on the combine form and everything. I'm like, oh my god, I got. But it was just something about this car, and I was just like, damn, this card is actually fucking sick. I like this parallel. All right, well, maybe this box gonna have something in it. Like I kind of feel like after I got to that card, well, I got a little bit of a usah because I was like, it's a cool card, but it's not a Herbie. It's not anybody else in it. Whatever. So I quickly, I'm still going through it, but I can. My cousin actually, what people couldn't see, is like, bruh. He's like, I think something's in this pack. He's like, so not only did he choose the box,
He
but
chose
then
the
he's
pack.
in the now he's in the box looking for the particular pack that got the hit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do you mean? That's the pack right here. I'm like, bro, we're gonna open up all the packs anyway. It's a personal. I'm not selling the pack, so I'm not worried about anything about that. But my cousin is hella juiced. Like my cousin was juiced, like he knew something was in
I
there the
remember
whole
that.
time,
Yeah,
bro.
bro,
He really was.
he took he had the electricity. When yours went down, Flim
Yeah.
was the one in your corner, like, bruh. Like it was like it was that's who Deontay Wilder needed in his corner. He needed Flim. If Wilder would have had Flim in his corner, he might have knocked out oh boy.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
Flim was in your corner, Jeremy, like he was
Yeah, he
pumping you
was.
up. And
Yeah, he
that's how I
was. He
know your
was.
electricity was down because Flim was in there like hyping you up. Yeah, talk about it.
Man, so yeah, Flynn was really like before I even got to the pack. And you remember he was over here like, yeah, this is my pack right here. This is my pack. I'm calling this pack right here. This pack right here. So I'm like, all right, man. So I get to the pack, and I'm like, when I picked it up, I'm like, oh, like, oh. like when I picked it up. Like I could
Yeah.
feel that it had something in it.
Like
And
either
so
a
I'm
filler or
thinking, man,
something, huh?
yeah, like a filler or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, and the reason why I'm thinking it's a filler or something is because those RPAs they're like one per case, or like one every other case, like just an RPA. Because I've even seen some cases with no RPAs in them, with no, it's not something that Prism really does. They don't really
Right.
do patch autographs or rookie patch autographs. They really don't. So I'm like, all right. So I open a pack and I'm going through it. My electricity still very low because, like I told you, I don't think ain't motherfucking shit in the box, dog. Like straight up. Excuse my language for any of the kids that's watching, but I didn't think that there was anything in there, guys. All right, so I'm opening. I get to the thick card. Obviously, there's a thick card in there, and I can see at the very top, it's he got a Charger helmet on. But I'm like, nah, man. I'm still in my head. I'm like, hell nah, bro. This ain't, because I get in this area, like, even with this Niner game that's on in the background, man. I had some money on that game. I, I would get into a zone where I will tell myself it's over, be done with it. So that
Yeah.
I'm not like sulking over something for hella, like, oh, bro, I just lost hella money, bro. So I literally have trained my mind to be like, be done with it, bro. It's done. So like, that's what I was doing with the box the whole way through. So when I get to the helmet with the Charger, I start telling myself it's Joshua Kelly. I'm like, because I already told myself this box is gonna be trash, bro. I
Yeah.
told myself this box was gonna be trash packs ago. Ain't nobody know it, but myself, right? So I'm pulling it, I'm pulling, and I when I get the feeling like it could be, before I can even see it, I put the card down. I'm like, nah, there's no freaking way it's this card. There's no way it's this card. Like, brother like me, I'm not supposed to be pulling this card. What the hell? There's no way it's this card. I just keep telling myself because I didn't even flip it over. I didn't know anything about it. I just had it there. So uh I think my video was going down, so I had to back out,
Uh-huh.
and then I refired up the live without looking at the card. I didn't look at the card at
No, you
all.
kept the card
Right?
down for a minute.
I kept the card down. I didn't want to see it
Yeah.
because I was like, "Oh my god, this card it could look stupid." So get back on the live. Everybody get back in the room, and then I flip the card, and it's the gold fucking Herbert RPA, and I lost it, dude. Every emotion in the world just came over me, dog. I start bawling my eyes out, like literally, like, oh my god, I couldn't believe it. Like, there's no way I could hold that feeling back, dog. I'm sorry, I don't care. The reason why I haven't posted on YouTube because I'm embarrassed with how crazy it was. That whole scenario and like how long, how drawn out it was, how much I start crying. My cuz like that was like one of the best moments ever, man. Like just seeing how beautiful that card actually was, and that they didn't give me like a little napkin of a patch. Like it was so much greater than I could have ever thought, bro.
Man.
Because the whole way through, I was telling myself that this box is gonna be trash. I'm not gonna find anything. And if I see a Charger helmet, it's Joshua Kelly. I told myself this a while ago. So that's why my emotions were just so overwhelmingly just drastic. Because I was just like, I I couldn't believe it. There was no way, that something like that to me at that time. I was looking for validation in myself for what I was doing as well.
Doing, yeah, yeah.
You know, open all these packs, just excuse me, just going through all this stuff, man. I've been going through a lot of stuff and my family, relation, all this other stuff. My shop was shut down, like just everything, like bro, the COVID, like everything just came over me right now, and it just hit like full circle, dude. And that's why I had all those crazy emotions and start crying like a baby because I really take what I do seriously, and I'm really
Yeah.
like passionate about it. And so, but a lot of that is always suppressed. I keep it suppressed. Other than when you see me or I get happy with, I get happy when I'm making other people happy. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing about me. Like I love making other people happy. But then when it comes to myself, I'm never worried about that. Like it's always in the back of my mind in terms of when I get on this platform. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm being used to make other people happy and to give other people a release valve. But when it comes to me, I try to put myself on the back seat. And I think that that's why I even opened up the box in that manner. It's because it's like, it's not about me,
Yeah.
like I'll open up some cards, and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't know, man, that whole day was just magical, man. And, I'll always remember that moment. And it's funny that you brought it up the way that you did, because there's no way that I even thought that it had already been a year since that happened, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Just
That is crazy.
coincidentally today when that popped up, and then earlier I had Tanya on, so I tried to go back to my Clubhouse screenshots I used to take, because remember we used to be in rooms by ourselves talking about stuff
Yeah,
that's happening now that nobody didn't want to
yeah,
talk about. So I used to screenshot. I used to be like, I'm gonna screenshot this because there's gonna come a day where this is gonna be
yeah,
the thing. You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about? And
yeah.
I had looked to see when I had first met Tanya, and it's about a year ago today. We're maybe like 345 days. Maybe we a little early. You're like 9 days early. You feel me? But it's the
Yeah.
same around the same time I found out who Cindy Dick was. Like I found out who she
Yeah.
was early January 2021. So
Right.
like all these year anniversaries are starting to, and you would think everything was planned
Yeah.
on purpose to us being on, you know what I'm saying, talking together today. Like, nah, that just happened like that. You know what I
That's
mean? But
crazy.
definitely fortunate, bro, that we was able to link up, and that the relationship that we have now, I wouldn't trade it in for anything, bro. I'd give away every one of my collectibles, bro, if I can just know you for the rest of my life on everything. This stuff don't mean nothing, you know what I mean? And that's the feeling when we first got into the room, that you give everybody, like all those emotions that you express when you pull that card. When I see you pull hits for other people, like I'm a big baby. I cry watching Undercover Boss. And at the end, when he be shelling out money to the people, I cry like I'm their cousin, bruh. Like I cry like
Yeah.
I'm finna get a piece of that. Or Shark Tank. When people get a deal on Shark Tank, bro, I
Yeah.
cry like I'm gonna get a piece of that. Like I don't know what it is. You feel me? So whenever I see you pulling big hits for people, and I know that's the feeling other people get too, because they express it in the chat all the time.
Yeah.
And when we talk outside of that, that's all we talk about. You know what I'm saying? And we try and mimic and create those same types of feelings and moments and memories, whether it's at a card show. Now the community travels to card shows. Now the
Yep.
community travels outside, just all different types of places where we try and create that culture and invite so many people in. And that's all because you set that up, bro. And you created that, you and the community members, man. So thank you for providing that space, that safe space, man. As a black, we both said it when we both met each other, we both probably had that same awe in our head. We didn't probably say it out loud, like, oh damn, he black and he collect too, wow. And
Yeah.
then we said it to ourselves.
Bro, that's exactly how I was like. I was like, bro, he black, he collect too, and he from around here too. I was like, hell nah, bro, that shit ain't real.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hell nah, this ain't real, man. I was like, I'm the only person out here. I used to always say, like, bro, man, what the fuck, dude? I was like, what is wrong with me? I know I'm the only brother out here that got all this craziness on his wall and doing all of this and all of that. Like, what the hell, Like, that's exactly how I used to feel, bro.
It was refreshing though,
exactly how I
bro.
used to
Yeah.
feel. So it was so refreshing getting the chance to like meet you and like know who you were. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was so inspired at the time. I needed inspiration, man. When you made the first video looking like bruh from Don't Be Admitted with all the wax on the fridge, bruh. Like that was the best, dog. I was like, oh man, like that was just an answer to prayer, man. That one video, man. So, I appreciate you, Pack, everything that you, Job, Slabby have done, not only with music, but the way that you guys inspire people, man, is powerful, man. So I'm constantly motivated by things you do. And then I just hope that I can reciprocate that energy because you're right. At times in life, our energy levels be running low, man. But then what happens, just like how with Flim, you know what I'm saying? I just need a homie when that energy running low for my man to pick up that energy and be like, nah, nigga, keep going, bro. You know what I'm saying? Keep going,
Yeah.
bro.
No,
You know what I'm
hey,
saying?
no, 100. Hey,
That's
y'all, I'll
that
tell it
is
right
so
now.
powerful, bro.
If it
So
wasn't for
powerful.
Knock, and it's probably around a year ago today, and maybe like 8 months too, because I was in it for a while, or before, because no, it was before a year, because we're coming up on a year anniversary where I went hard on it. But pause. But you told me right around, I think it was December 2020. It wasn't even 21. December, early January. You were real. You were like, hey, Pack, I didn't even ask you for your feedback either. You said, hey, Pack, your memes, like they cool, bro. They funny. I get it. Like the memes is funny, bro. Like they funny. I see the angle you getting at. Like I got it. But what's up with the TikToks and the movies and the live action stuff, bro? Like that's what we like. That's what you used to say. And that's the reason why. That's the reason why I made the memes like a 5% part of the thing. You know what I'm saying? That we do. Like if it's still something I feel is funny and it's cool, I put it out there. But it's like, nah, man. Not challenge me to be different. He challenged me to raise the bar, you know what I'm saying? Take it to the next level, because then other people could take it to either higher levels, but why not you
Right.
be the one to push that level there? So, bro, thank you for not letting me settle. Because if it wasn't for you, bro, honestly, I'd probably still just be making memes. It'll be music too, because that's RPS. But as far as the
Right.
filler content that we try and make, you know what I'm saying? Bro, it would literally still be copy and pasting memes, widening out somebody else's words and writing, you know what I'm saying? And writing my
Right.
own hobby words on there, which, like I said, still I do, but it's a small portion of it now. You might get that once a
Right.
week now. You know what I'm saying? I make sure it's heavy on the C in the face, me
Yeah.
challenging myself, trying to,
Yeah.
because believe it or not, well, I can't say now, but man, I'm a pretty, I don't leave the house either, bro. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of situations that doesn't have to do with hobby or work or family, I'm the shy guy.
Yeah.
And it used to be family shy. It used to be family, hobby, and work where I was the shy guy. I had to come up
Right.
out. You know what I'm saying? It took a lot of years
Yeah.
and failures and wins to come out of this shell and be comfortable rapping at almost 40 years old about sports cards. And smile, look
Right.
at me smiling. I don't give a flip.
Yeah.
Boy, go
Hell yeah.
crazy, boy. You feel, but if you would, but at 35, if you would have said that, bro, I would have, bro, I would have roasted anybody who would have said anything about me rapping about anything at 35. I would have said, bro, I'm never gonna be what? You
What are you talking
stupid.
about?
You stupid.
Right.
So thank you, bro, for just pushing it. Man, you, the community, man, introducing me to just everybody in the community, from Butter, Opay, Flim, Spit. I mean, these are people that I can call or contact right now. I don't have to go through
Right.
you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And like Opay, another brother who collects toys and cards, and
Yep.
an
Yep.
OG in the game who makes it feel good about it, who makes it look
Yeah.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I would have had people like this when I was a kid, because then I wouldn't have been chasing
Yeah.
other stuff. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like, I love
Yep.
sports and I love all the things, some of the other stuff I used to, you know what I'm saying, I learned. But had I have had black people who were collecting cards and toys to look up to when I was a teenager, bro, I probably would have never tried to hoop, bro. I'd have
Yeah. I'd
I'd
have
have been
got
at Comic Cons and toy and card shows setting up right now. I'd have been like Prism Guy right now, bro. I'd have been a beast, boy. I'd have been a beast if I had somebody like y'all to look
man.
up to, bro, for real.
Man, I hear you on that one. Me too, man. I could say I probably would have been me, more of me, faster than I became more of me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I would have felt that relief that it was okay to be myself in this way faster than it had actually come around to be. So yeah, definitely the whole way, man. Big shout out to Ope for sure.
Yeah, big shout out to Ope. Man, we can go on for days and days and days, bro. Like I said, I don't like to put any time constraints on this, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I know you got a family, I got a family, I got to run it back in there too. But before we get up out of here, bro, one last question for our young viewers and for our old viewers too. We learn a lot from each other, from our peers too. But I know a lot of our youngsters, I know a lot of my students tap in and listen to this, right? And they might share it with
Yeah.
somebody else. Somebody might stumble upon this. Um, we didn't get a lot into your business, right? And I want
Mm,
to get into that next time because you're a successful businessman, right? You and your team, you've done remarkable things in the Bay Area as far as culture and fashion and the shoe game and the shoe world and things like that, right? Notable. Um, you said you were 35 today. If you can give yourself one piece of advice, right, from today, let's say to the 18-year-old you, right,
mm.
like what would that piece of advice be?
What would that piece of advice be?
Yeah.
It would probably be go now. You
Huh.
know, go now. Do it now. Um, don't don't wait. You know, I didn't need, like, school was great. College was great. Going and experiencing that and being able to graduate from college, something that my father didn't do, just to be able to say that I did it. But I didn't need to walk the so on, so-called this path just to get to actually where I ended up being. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't know how it would have played out, but what I do know is that as an entrepreneur, if you have a great idea, if you believe in it, if you're extremely passionate about it, and you don't necessarily need a degree to accomplish that certain goal, or to start that certain business, start that business and get your degree and your goal and all the other stuff at the same time. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Or um, get involved in that field that you have that direct passion about, give it your all, and then see where it takes you. And if you feel like you would also like to have a degree to fall back on or whatever, or just make sure that you do it that way. But don't put off, what do they say? Don't put off today what you could have accomplished tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm going with it. If you have a great idea, you got great passion for whatever it is that you might do, go for it and do it then and there. I think I fell too much into this weird notion as a youth that everything was going to be in a handbook, or that, in order to reach X end goal, you had to go through these steps. You had to go do this, do that, do this, and do that. And a lot of times you don't. Um, you can go direct to consumer when they say that you might not be able to. When they say you got to use this platform to get to the consumer, guess what? When they was telling us that, I went to direct to my consumer when Instagram first came out, and was
Right.
like, I know somebody else on here gonna want to buy this without me having to give somebody else even a portion of money to be seen on, whether it was a Shopify or Big Cartel at the time, or this or whatever it was. Um, that's what I would say, man. So, whether it's art, whether it's collecting, whether it's reselling, a lot of kids nowadays, they like to resell footwear and resell, clothing, and doing this and doing that. Well, if you can understand, that you bought this at X amount, and you need to make this amount in order to keep growing your business, and then just start there. Don't don't worry about all the logistics and the specifics. You know, because I was doing all that stuff at 18, but I felt like I was I felt like I had things mixed up and jumbled up because I wasn't believing in myself all the way. You
Yeah.
know, I had partial faith in myself, and then I was believing in the establishment to help me figure out the other part. With reality, you should have just been believing in yourself the whole time
Right.
and giving it your all. So I think that's what I would have to say to myself as a 35-year-old me talking to 18-year-old me. It would be, be safe out in these streets, but go for it, man.
Go for it.
Go for it, man. So
Definitely, definitely. And shout out Pepino. Pepino said, "What's up? Good stuff." He taking off, having to go to sleep. Thank you to everybody who's dropped in. Knock, thank you for that gym. That was also another refreshing gym. Back still today, we still do this, but maybe like 6, 7 years ago, Jive and myself were heavy about going into high schools, colleges, and different programs and talking to the youth, right? And the one thing
right,
I used to say, bro, without any type of life experience to back it up because I hadn't tried anything yet was go for it now. It just felt right. It felt right because I saw other kids doing great things at 12, 13. And then I'd be around these
right,
kids and just know that they were, you know what I mean? They can do so much more. So that's the same thing what you said, bro, word for word. Like I used to go around and tell kids, man, do it now. Don't wait. Start now. Chase your dreams, chase your passions now, 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 now. So to hear
yeah,
you say that, uh, and then to be in the position that we're in now, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, for sure, chase it now. Anytime you have
chasing
that
now,
dream, go get that because you're gonna pull a Herbie. You feel me? For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
for sure, yeah. You just gotta believe, and chances make champions out here. And I'm not talking about being involved in any tomfoolery out in these streets.
Right.
But it literally chances make champions. So, you know, some people, take them chances. You hear a lot of uh well-off people that have become some of the world's wealthiest people. What do? They take a chance. A lot of them have taken chances and left prestigious colleges to become who they ended up becoming because
Yeah.
they took a chance and they believed in themselves. So, it's a feeling that you get, and then when you get there, and you feel like you're on edge, but you're not doing anything wrong. You're on edge because you're literally deciding whether you can separate yourself from uh, 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 the establishment and or keep pushing for yourself. When you really feel like you on that line, and then you fully dive into believing in yourself and in your passions and stuff, that's where freedom lies right there. And that's also where
Ooh.
freedom lies, and that's where also life gets real because it's all on you, to produce and to create and to put food on the table, but hey man, we gotta have another conversation
Yeah,
and
we
get to
we
the rest
definitely,
of that.
we definitely got to have another one. We for sure got to get back on the off the beaten path. You know what I'm saying? For those people who don't know, Knock and I think it was back in June of 2021, I believe, might have been our first off the beaten path that we, you know what I'm saying? We started on the flim. You know what I'm saying? Just to
2020.
2020, 2020.
You said
Nah, it was
2021.
2021. It was 21.
Was it 2020?
It was 21.
Was it 21?
It was 21
Dang.
because we made our first song August 2020.
Okay, 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 okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So it was
okay.
2021. Still
Man,
though. Still, we got off the beaten path.
that's almost a year ago.
Almost a year. We're gonna bring it back. And when we bring it back, it's gonna be, don't even worry about it, people. It's gonna be, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be that. Justin said what's up. He hopped in here, said what's up, community with the
What up?
electricity
What up?
bolts. I ain't even been putting all these comments on here like I'm supposed to. Man, yeah, and then I'm gonna bring back the soundboard, a whole bunch of engaging stuff we're gonna have for off the beaten path. Um, It's something we started that we ain't gonna finish. Y'all know how life go, but we still getting it individually. So collectively, when we get back together, it's gonna be that much more awesome. You know what I mean? Shout out
Hell yeah.
again to everybody who stopped by. Knock, we for surely gonna run this back. It's so much more. This is a lifetime thing, man. It's never gonna be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. We can condense this all into, but hopefully one sentence out of something that we said that you said changed, impacted somebody, made somebody think, love, or you know what I'm saying, just feel, if anything. You know what I mean? That's the whole goal. So appreciate you, bro. I'll probably
Heck
holler at you
yeah.
as soon as we get off this line.
Yes, sir. Hit me up, bro, because the night is still young. So I'll probably hop off of here and start breaking for the people in just a second. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And then
yeah.
gotta open up the shop and keep grinding it out tomorrow, man. Don't stop.
Yep, I'm back on school grounds tomorrow too. So let me act like it.
All right, brother, man. Hey, off the checklist is where you need to be, man. So it was great. Thank you for having me. And you know what I'm saying? I can't wait to be back on here with you again, brother.
Yeah, man. Right on, bro. You too, man. Tell the family I said what's up, bro. I'll tap in with you.
My man.
Yep. All right, y'all.
Hey,
Peace. Thank y'all for tuning in off the checklist with knock Knocka underscore prestige. Y'all make sure y'all go support that man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Off the checklist. We off that thing. On in.